I'm glad you're here. Ellen Cantor, and they're here as well. They'll be in a second.
You had a fabulous time at the Grand Canyon, I saw.
It was wonderful, yeah.
It's such a neat place.
I was very happy.
It took us years to get there. I've lived here almost my whole life. We didn't get there till the kids were in college.
But when we did get to, we got to camp there, and we actually had a spot inside the park, so we could walk out our door, walk about 50 feet, and the bus would pick us up, take us over, and we did.
Yeah, well, that's what we did too. We were inside. Yeah, it was lovely.
It was parked literally by the bus stop. It was great. It was just far enough away that it didn't bother us.
Okay. We saw javelinas on the path. They're tally-toed in the back if you'd like.
No, that's okay. I have my own from Israel. If I don't wear mine, I don't wear it.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Chag Sameach. We will get started in just a couple moments. Oh, good. Sunny got on. Awesome.
Yep. I know it's hard to find a seat. Chag Sameach, everyone online. It's good to see some of you that we haven't seen in a little while. Chag Sameach, Howard. Mode ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechezarta binishmati bechemla Rabbi emunatecha
Chag Sameach, everyone. It's always wonderful to see you as we continue our celebration of Passover. And hello to everyone online. I'm so glad that you are here. And between all of our places, we have a minion. So it's a wonderful thing. We have a smaller crowd than usual this morning, but everyone's presence truly matters because of exactly that. So we begin our prayers in the morning with gratitude. This idea of Moda Ani, thank you, God, for restoring my soul to me. How great is your trust. I want to just begin with a poem written in this book, The Grateful Heart, called The Season of Freedom. This is the season of freedom from the will of tyrants, of freedom from the bondage of self, of freedom to receive God's holy word. This is the season of release from captivity and oppression, of release from a foreign land to become a nation and a people. This is the season of redemption, of redeeming our bodies and souls, of redeeming our strength and power in service to Am Yisrael. This is the season of freedom, of reliving the ancient journey, of remembering the treacherous path. This is the season that calls us to stand together, the season that summons us to God's law, the season that leads us home. As we celebrate Passover, we have an opportunity to bring together so many of our values, of our past, and also our future, as we'll talk about a little bit later today. We often don't have an opportunity to meet in the morning to offer words of prayer, right? And I want to invite anyone who would like to have a talit to grab one as we offer the blessing for placing a talit on. When I think of putting on a talis, can everyone online, can you all hear me? I'm moving around and the microphone is here and okay, good. So we put around a talit. It always feels to me like a big hug, right? Wearing this garment of kind of being wrapped in the centuries. And there's a reading on page 417 in our prayer books. Whoever wrapped in a talit in one's youth will never forget, taking it out of the soft sack, opening the folded talit, spreading it, kissing the border along its length, sometimes embroidered, sometimes embossed. Afterwards, a great sweep over the head like the heavens, like a chuppah, like a parachute. Afterwards, folding it around one's head as if playing hide and seek. And then wrapping the body in it tight, tight, letting it fold you like a cocoon, and then opening it like wings for flying. And why are there stripes and not black-white squares like a chessboard? Because squares are finite without hope, and stripes come from infinity and go to infinity like the runways at the airport, so that angels may land and take off. When you wrap yourself in a talit, you cannot forget coming out of a swimming pool or the sea and being wrapped in a great towel and casting it over one's head and wrapping in it tight, tight, and shivering a little and laughing and blessing. These words reminding us of the generations that have come before us, that are encircling all of us as we offer words of prayer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lihitatef batzitzit. We turn to page 418 as we offer another prayer of gratitude, Matovu.
Matovu alecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matovu alecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Vani berov chasdecha avo veitecha eshtachave lecha al kodshecha beiratecha ma tovu alecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael ma tovu alecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. We continue on page 420. I thank you for my life, body and soul. Help me realize I'm beautiful and whole. Help me realize I am beautiful and whole. I'm perfect the way I am and a little broken too. I'm perfect the way I am and a little broken too. I will live each day as a gift I give to you. I will live each day as a gift I give to you. Oh, oh, Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh kol basar, machil asor. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh kol basar, machil asor. I am perfect the way I am, and a little broken too. I will live each day as a gift I give to you, as a gift I give to you. Continue from the prayer for our body to the prayer for our soul, page 422. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi Tehorai. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi Tehorai. Ata berata, ata yetzarta, ata nefachta bi, ve'ata meshamra bekirbi. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi Tehorai.
On page 424, we give thanks for the Nisim B'chol Yom for the daily miracles. Passover is filled with stories about great miracles, but we also remember the miracles we experience each day, the ability to distinguish day from night, the ability to open our eyes, the ability to live with so many of the privileges that each of us have. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captive. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who lifts up the fallen. 426. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the waters. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who strengthens our steps. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who clothes the naked. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who made me in the image of God. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me a Jew. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who girds Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who crowns Israel with splendor. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with words of Torah. We turn to page 431. We seekers of God, how do we find you? In good deeds and in the study of Torah. And your search for us, you find us in the bending of the knee, in the rigor of study, in the honesty of commerce, through a good heart, through decency, in respect, true fellowship, companionship, and love, through truth and peace, in the no that is really no, and the yes that is really yes. Baruch atah Adonai, hamlamed Torah la'amo Yisrael. 432.
אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, ואלו הם. אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, ואלו הם. כיבוד אב ואם וגמילות חסדים, והשכמת בית המדרש שחרית וערבית. אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, ואלו הם.
These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all. We move from our early prayers in the service, these prayers of gratitude, these prayers easing us into our liturgy, and we prepare for the next section of our Torah, where we'll call one another to worship. Very often, in the middle of two sections of a service, we have a Chatzi Kaddish, a moment of transition, a small piece of the mourner's Kaddish to come later on. So as we turn to page 451, I invite us to rise in body or in spirit.
יגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמד יפרח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה v'meru amen.
Page 452, our Baruch.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai.
You may be seated. On page 455. In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous. A promise that your light would become the catalyst, first for order and then for hope. Author of language and light, help us to use words as you have, to cast light into dark waters and draw out justice and truth. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. As we turn to page 456, this prayer, Ahava Rabbi, is essentially God's love letter to us, telling us that God is there for us and that God's gift to us is Torah, or the lessons of our people, the stories that have been passed down among generations. But in our morning liturgy, we have this paragraph at the very bottom, page 456. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah, focus our minds on your mitzvot, ignite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, never stumble. Having trusted in your great and awesome holiness, we will celebrate your salvation with joy. And then it offers to gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth. And the tradition is that as we wear a talit, we gather all of the tzitzit from the four corners that we have and bring them all together as we remember that we as a Jewish people, celebrating Passover all over the world, people from different backgrounds, people of different ideas, certainly, two Jews, three opinions, but we are all one people that comes together in a service of celebration for Passover and also a service of memory. So let's sing together the Ha'erenenu.
Ha'erenenu betoratecha v'dabek libeinu b'mitzvotecha v'yachet levaveinu le'ava
As we turn to page 458, I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we offer the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated if you wish. Ve'ahavta Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'shokbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam lehot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'ktavtam amezuzot beitecha u'visharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת. On 467, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai. That wherever we are, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Micha mocha ha'elim Adonai, Micha mocha nedar b'kodesh, Torah tehilot, osef eleh, shira chadasha, shibchu גאולים לשמך שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והתייפו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל ובדי חינומך יהודה וישראל. כה עלינו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל Baruch atah Adonai, Kail Yisrael.
Please rise and body your spirit for the Amidah on page 468.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקראת צל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גון לך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Chen v'chesed, chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Chen v'chesed, chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Rachamim, sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel hamecha. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom tova uvracha.
There we go. So our sages teach that there are actually two Passovers. There is Pesach Lushovar, which is the Passover of the past, and there is also Pesach Latid, which is the Passover of the future. And we begin the holiday of Passover, as we know, filled with stories of memory of our people. We recall the struggles and the triumphs of all those who have gone before us, of people who lived under Egyptian bondage. At our Seder, we say the words, B'chol dor vador chayav adam lirot et amo, ki'ilu hu yatsa mimitzrayim. In every generation, one is obligated to see oneself as if one personally has left Egypt. We tell our people stories not to remember something that happened hundreds and hundreds of years ago, but with the recognition that the story of Passover is actually our story right now, in this moment. It's a part of who we have always been, both as individuals and also as a people in its entirety. For an evening, we go back in time, honoring Moses and Aaron, honoring Shifra and Puah and Yocheved and Batya and Miriam and all of our fellow Israelites. We take to heart their contributions, their beauty, and their strength. We learn from their lessons about courage and humility, about justice and faith and morality. We see their flaws, and we discuss with one another what this story means to us. Passover is a holiday about memory, but it is also about the future. There is a reason that the last day of Passover actually includes a Haftarah portion, which envisions a messianic age, filled with respect, filled with compassion. A kind of thing that wasn't so present in our Passover story, but that we envision, that we dream of for the future. Passover compels us to look to the future, to dream of the world that we wish to see, that our ancestors would have liked to see. Today, as we celebrate Passover, we're also here because we're mourners. We're here in order to Yizkor, to remember people who have gone before us. And just as we honor the memory of generations of Jews who have gone before us, we have taken this time out of our week in order to be here, to think about the legacies of loved ones who have shaped us into the people that we are today. If Passover begins with memory, and this last day seems to focus more on the future, then we might wonder why Yizkor doesn't happen earlier in Passover. Why does it not happen on the first or the second day of the holiday, so that this day would be all about envisioning the future? Instead, we always have Yizkor on this final day, on Pesach L'Atid, on the Passover of the future. Why does our tradition insist on the juxtaposition of memory and vision, of past and future? Because our sages understood what we all understand, that the two are inextricably linked together. That as we grieve for all that has been lost, as we recall all the times we pick up the phone or expect our loved one to walk through the door, all the times we've said aloud the names of someone who we love so much, half expecting a reply or fully expecting a reply, we mourn for the fact that we don't receive that, for the fact that we do have that empty seat at the table. But at the same time, we understand that our loved ones continue to be a presence in our lives right here at this very moment, and will continue to into the future. We hear the advice that they may have given. We're conscious of the ways in which they impact our lives now at this moment. Perhaps we feel them with us even in this room. As our people left the land of Egypt in our Passover story, we learn that they carried with them not only the riches with which one day they would create the tabernacle, but they also carried with them the bones of Joseph. And in fact, there are midrashim that state that they not only carried the bones of Joseph, but they actually carried the bones of all the people who had died in the land of Egypt, all the people who had affected their lives over this time. And they did this. Okay, sorry, I lost my spot. They did this to fulfill a promise to Joseph, yes, but they did this for another reason as well. The Israelites knew that there could be no future without remembering the past, without bringing with them the bones, the foundation, the strength of those who impacted their lives. Joseph asked that they bring his bones to the promised land. That was in the past. That was something that they uplifted and that they upheld. But Joseph couldn't say how they should remember him, how they should remember past generations. That's up to us in the here and now. It's up to us, to the people, all of us, to determine how we remember, of what to let go and of what to hold on to. Every single one of us in this room, every one of us online is a mourner. Perhaps our loved one died in recent days or months. Perhaps our loved ones died in past years, but their presence in our lives is very real and continues to be real, right? Passover is about holding on to our memory, holding on to all of those beautiful legacies that have been left to us, letting go of the pieces that no longer serve us, and uplifting all of the good, all of the ways in which we want to carry them and share stories and keep them alive for us today. Rabbi Harold Schulweis so beautifully put it this way: like Passover, we recite Yizkor not only to remember the past, but to remember the future. Those we remember loved us, and we return their love by living out their noblest dreams. Their immortality is grounded in our morality. And so we turn to our Yizkor service right now, this prayer of remembering, and it's going to begin on page 575 within our prayer books. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey from birth to death to life everlasting. Page 576.
Adonai roi lo echsar binot sheyar bitzeni al mei menuchot ינעלני נפשי ישובב ינחני במעגלי צדק ינחני במעגלי צדק למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגיא צל מוות לא אירא רק כי אתה עמדי שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפניי שולחן נגד צורריי דשנת ושמן ראשי כוסי רוויה אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. אדוני רואי לא אחסר, אדוני רואי לא אחסר.
A Psalm of David. Adonai is my shepherd, I lack nothing. God makes me lie down in green pastures. God leads me to water in places of repose. God renews my life. God guides me in right paths, as befits God's name. Though I walk through a valley of deepest darkness, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You spread a table for me in full view of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My drink is abundant. Only goodness and steadfast love shall pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God for many long years. On page 579, as we prepare to say aloud the names of people we are remembering, we offer this reading. Each person has a name. We each have a name given by God and given by our father and mother. We each have a name given by our stature and our smile and given by our attire. We each have a name given by the hills and given by the walls. We each have a name given by the stars and given by our friends. We each have a name given by our sins and given by our yearnings. We each have a name given by our enemies and given by love. We each have a name given by celebrations and given by our work. We each have a name given by the seasons and given by our blindness. We each have a name given by the sea and given by our death. Each of us has so many different aspects of who we are, and today we remember them. As we turn to page 580, there's an opportunity for us to bring to mind every person who we are remembering, to remember their smile, to remember our memories with them, and to offer in our own time a silent Yizkor, page 580. I used to be part of you, belonged to you, the extension of your being. But now you live within me, are the spark of my consciousness. I say Kaddish for you, with you, as you sing your melodies, speak your words, hearing your voice in mine, and my eyes, too green, have somehow started to reflect the blue of yours. I used to be part of you, protected by your presence, by your light. But now the time is mine, and alone I must be more than myself. Your child has become your heir, has become you. May God remember our loved ones who have gone to eternal rest. May they be at one with the one who is life eternal. May the beauty of their lives shine forevermore, and may my life always bring honor to their memory. In just a moment, we will offer the El Malay Rachamim prayer, and we'll have a video showing the pictures and names of some of the people who have died just in this past year. I'm going to read out loud the names of people who have died in this past year before we do that, and if anyone would like to add the name of someone that they are remembering whenever they died, that you'll have an opportunity to say their names out loud. And for all of you online, please feel free to write in the chat the name of anyone you are remembering today. Trent Tozer, a friend of the Wasserman family. Captain Alice Weiss, Carrie McMillan's mom. Peter Shamrath Yang, Nathaniel Yang's father. Rochelle Lewis, a member of our community. Kristen Kamagawa, a friend of the Skoll Gill family. Melvin Feldman, father of Dave Feldman. Vanessa Watson, friend of Arlie and Dickey. Vivian Cohen, member of our community. Robert Efros, Richard's brother. Emma Trudeau, cousin of Steve Morris. Randy Holbert, past TBE president. Sal Mayo, Dina Dreisler's father. Faye Leach, Don, sister-in-law. Prince Ntwali, Susan and Bill's adopted son. Jerome Jerry Weiss, member of our community. Smadar Asik, also a member. Jerry McLaughlin, father of Maura Lowenstein. Sid Brickman, part of our community. Bill Rhodes, Billy Paponi's uncle. Bobby Arkoff, a longtime temple member. Mustafa Fletcher, a friend of Howard Euler. Susan Richmond, Roz Leach's son-in-law's mother. Larry Ponseji, brother-in-law to Roz Leach. Honorable Bess Blatkin Levine, Bonnie Leopold's aunt. Leon Shehan, Michelle Shehan's birth dad. Mark Tatsuya Landisman, a member of our community. Patrice Fink, sister-in-law of Hank Fink. Irv Siegelman, member of our community, husband to Sharon Siegelman. Art Hirsch, Doug Hirsch's father. Audrey Carlin, a member of our community. Barry Tischler, husband of Ellen Tischler, and a part of our community. Hillary Whittam, niece of Ben and Shelley Pogorelski. Ira Spector, the brother of Mark Spector. Michael Gegna, the father of Leslie Rowe. Patricia Dreisler, the mother of Robin Dreisler. Eric Christensen, Hank Fink's good friend. Tatiana Christensen, another good friend. James Takara, the father of Jason Jamie Takara. Vivian Rigler, a member of our community. Norman Cantor, a member of our community. Joseph Blond, the brother of Rima Blond-Olson. Frida Fritzie Schneider, the grandmother of Donnie Paquin. Barbara Turek Griesdorf, Fran Brown's aunt. Jack Silverberg, Helene Chanowski's brother. Elliot Bruner, a member of our community. Ardith Garland, Liam Meneses' sister. Nicole Minnie, Sam Morris, Steve Morris's father, and Linda Diane Mendelson. If anyone is remembering anyone else right now, I invite you to say their names aloud. We add to these memories Leanne Shehan, Edith and Chuck Newman, Pearl and Murray Weinstein, Benjamin and Rebecca Shehan, William Felberg, David Lerner, Marilyn Lerner, Samuel Lerner, and Betty Lerner. In memory of every one of them, let us offer our El Malay Rachamim prayer, page 582. I invite you to please rise.
Shochen bamromim המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה. עם קדושים וטהורים כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים לנשמת יקירנו שהלכו לעולמם בעל הרחמים. יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתם. אדוני הוא נחלתם וינוחו בשלום על משכבם. ונאמר
To all the names that we've said, I'm going to add just a few more. Samuel Ehrlich, Cyril Wade, Arthur Berman, and Hilda Berman. I hope that all of their memories, we know that all of their memories will be a blessing. We're going to turn toward our Kaddish prayer on page 598. And I invite you to offer these words with me. As we say Kaddish, as for some of us, our eyes are filled with tears as we are remembering. We also remember that the mourner's Kaddish prayer doesn't mention grief or mourning or death at all. It actually is all about praising God, a reminder of what a blessing it is to have had the people that we've loved in our lives, of gratitude and grief meshed into one. And we uplift one another in saying these words. Yizkor v'yitkadash shmei Rabbi. Me'almad yivrach hirotei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chai yachon v'yom echon. Uv'chayei d'kol beit Yisrael. Ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbi mevarach le'olam olamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitzaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudisha b'richu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushvachata v'nechamata da'amiram v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael V'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Zikronam livracha, may all of their memories be a blessing.
Osei shalom b'mromav, hu
Robert Malloy once wrote, "When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands, by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away." As we continue to remember our loved ones, may we remember them through the love in our eyes, through the joy we share, through the memories that we continue to share with one another, living out in the way that they would want us to. I hope everyone has a Pesach Sameach for the rest of the day, right? And truly a meaningful rest of your Chag. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much online for all of
Chag
you. as
Pesach
well.
Sameach, everyone.